Move on to this Brandon Royval, Rogerio Bontorin, very controversial fight, though it ended up in the right hand, the right victor won. Very controversial, brother. And I'm just gonna pull up the photo again, just because. Look at it, man. Royval got that armbar locked in. Bontorin, ghost tap. That's neither here nor there. I want to ask you a question right here, man. This felt like a story of. Oh, pulled the wrong one down. My fault. This looked like a story of volume and output versus power and strength and control time. So what counts more to you, man? When we take a look at the numbers, we have Brandon Royval. He lands 81 out of 174 total strikes to 39 for 71 for Bontorin. So clearly outstruck the man, like by far. 40 significant strikes for Royval, 28 for Bontorin. But the question that we have here is that when Royval landed on Bontorin, it felt like it did nothing. When Bontorin landed on Royval, he's knocking him all over the cage. And Royval said it in the post-fight presser. He says, those shots didn't do anything to me. It's just my balance. But I'm like, I hear you, but it just doesn't look good. Like, it doesn't look good optically in the eyes of the judges, regardless if it's your balance or not. You're getting kind of knocked all over the cage. Now, the one thing to take into account here is that, yes, when we're talking striking numbers, Royval got that. If we're talking about control time, 7 minutes and 41 seconds to 1 minute and 43 for Brandon Royval. 8 of 9 takedowns for Bontorin, no takedowns for Royval. So that's where my question lies. Does the output and the volume of a Royval, where it was a little flashier, a little more da-da-da-da-da, right? Versus that power of Bontorin, the few and far in between, the power, the takedown, and the control. What's more impactful to you, brother? Obviously, Royval got the win, but if you were judging the fight, did you see this clearly as a win for Brandon Royval, given the way that the fight kind of played out?
Man, I had it even going into the third. I had it very close because normally I'm all about the damage. If you're putting damage on, and maybe not Bontorin didn't actually hurt Royval, but the fact that he's able to spin him around, look like you said, he's making him off balance, taking that balance away. That's a force aspect, man. You don't take somebody's balance away just by jabbing them in the face. You got to have a real hard jab that actually snaps their head back, that they get a little unbalanced. I usually lead towards damage, man, personally. But to that same aspect, you have somebody who's piecing you up. You throw one punch that hurts them or lands and rocks them a little bit, and they hit you back with 35. It's a little unbalanced in the fact that the striking acumen goes a little bit more towards Royval in this instance. Personally, like I said, I lead it. I favor a damage a little bit more, but that's a kind of a teeter-totter of a balance. Like which way does it go when you have that one? If you can't put him out with that one shot, then kind of the accumulation matters a little bit more to me.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man, because I had it the same way. I had a 1-1 going into round 3, and I thought Brandon Royval just did what he needed to do to win the fight. Not only the submission attempt that was basically he tapped Bontorin, you know what I mean? But on top of that, he held Bontorin down, and when he was on bottom or on top or whatnot, he was on top and he was just throwing down vicious ground and pound elbows, everything, just being active. He won the round 3, and I think he won the fight. But if he did not have that effort in round 3, man, and listen, Bontorin had a case to win the fight. Now, when people are saying robbery, I don't agree. I don't think this was a robbery whatsoever. It was a close fight, But now let's talk about it in depth, brother. Morality. Is there such thing in this sport, my man? Let me single myself. Let me go on a rant. Is there such thing as morality in this sport? Is there such thing is a true reminder of what the sport is about, which is your pride, your ego, all that good stuff, man, but your honor. That's really what it is, man. You must have honor in this sport. And if we're being honest about it, man, if you go back and you watch UFC 1, or UFC 2, UFC 3, and you're watching Royce Gracie, over here submitting these huge dudes, whatnot, you'll notice that he holds on to submissions for a long time. Why? Not because he's an asshole, but because these dudes would tap and then be like, oh, no, I didn't tap, whatever, and the ref didn't see it. So he was forced to be like, okay, if I get you an armbar, I'm going to break your arm, literally, so that there's all the evidence in the world. You tapped, that's it, you're done. The referee needs to stop it. I'm not going to stop. So the last thing that you want is to revert back to that and having dude hold submissions even when dudes tap, just so the referee makes sure that they do their job and they step in. But when we're talking about honor, man, I lost a little bit of respect for Bontorin. I still think he's an amazing fighter, great fighter, but I lose a little bit of respect when you do the ghost tap. And I just want to see if he's going to comment comment on it, what he's gonna say about it. He didn't have a post-fight interview from what I saw, but just give me your take on this. Not just as an analyst of the fight game, man, but just as a fight fan. Like, what does this do to you in respect for your opinion of Rogerio Bontorin?
Yeah, it's hard, man, because there's many a way where you could have framed it. The fact that he didn't tap, it was a closed fist. He's just trying to like elbow or something, and it looks like that way. It was very clearly one of those panic, like, oh shit, my arm, like let go. I wouldn't say necessarily lost a little bit of respect. While you were explaining your bit, Derek, it always made me think of this one time we were playing back home. It was we were getting ready for the 3-on-3 tournament. It was called the Gus Macker back home, and we were playing at the park. We were playing ball at the park. And one of I happened to touch the ball as it goes out, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that was me. Like, my bad, it's all good. But we weren't playing we weren't playing the tournament yet. So Sure enough, the tournament comes around. I'm not going to be announcing that kind of stuff. That's the ref calls it. The way the ref calls it is what it is. A little bit, is it a little bit dirty of a play? Yeah, sort of. But would I expect the other team to do the same thing? Yeah, 100%. Now, in the fact of a tap, it's a little bit more dirty or a little bit cheekier of a way. 'Cause I definitely don't have the same. I didn't lose any respect, but I didn't feel the same way of Bontorin as I do now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something gone right there, because it's an admission. If you're tapping, it's an admission of, damn, you got me. Like, please, like, let go, and not so much of like a. I wouldn't classify it as closest to like a fence grab or something like that, but it's a lot of, not necessarily lost respect, but there was something missing there once I saw it go down, and then he kept fighting. It's a little bit of an honor thing for sure.
Well, maybe I used the wrong words. I did not lose respect for Bontorin as a fighter, but kind of in that Priscilla Cachoeira, you know what I mean, style of like, all right, were you going for the eyes? Like, why are you being dirty? Like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, yes, you're a great fighter, but come on, don't do that, So it's just because it reminds me, it's the same thing at the gym, brother. You get somebody in a rear naked choke or a guillotine, they start gurgling a little bit, so you're like, yo, you okay? And they're like, oh, dude, I'm fine. It's like, you weren't fine. You weren't fine, but it's okay. You know what I mean? That's it. I just think honor is an important thing, and like you said, obviously in a pickup game when you're playing for nothing, yeah, of course, that was me, whatever, you can have the ball, ball don't lie. But playing for money, playing for a championship, referee, that was, you ain't say nothing, man, so I ain't touch shit, you feel me? So I get it. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Big win for Brandon Royval at the end of the day. Very emotional in his post-fight presser. He definitely needed a win because he was on a 2-fight losing streak, but nonetheless, man, I just think that this is, the flyweight division is on fire right now, man. This is basically as exciting as it's ever been. So it'll be fun to see, future matchups and all that good stuff, man.